Okay, we're going back to corn planting today. Surprise, surprise. Damn. I call that a hole in one. That's the first shot. Could you believe it? Nobody's gonna believe it, but it is. So first thing me and Teeter gotta do is pull this thing over to the field, because I'm probably gonna need to refill. It'll be close. Make sure I got the fuel. The carb on this thing is still leaking a little bit. Somebody suggested apparently these carburetors are known for the ears on the top cover puckering. So I had somebody suggest taking the bowl and that upper plate there and running them on a grinding stone, or a sharpening stone. That's what I'm looking for. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. To flatten them back out, and that should take care of it. And that appears to be where it's leaking, is right there at the bowl gasket. So I'm thinking he was right. But that's something we can screw with at another time. So I gotta get this to the field, come back, get the tractor and planter. I already pre-filled the planter yesterday when I got back with the 4-150. So it's got seed and fertilizer in it already. One thing I forgot to do, but it was raining and I had other things I had to do. I forgot to fill the tractor with fuel, but that's easy enough. Got the nose of the 150 all cleaned up. I got this morning I got parts ordered. Talked to Brad Maybaugh about it and told him what it was doing, and apparently this is a first for him. He's never seen one do that before. So I was like, why does my stuff always have to do the stupid shit? Because Brad Maybaugh has worked on so many of those tractors from the 55 series on up, and even before that. I mean, if they can do it, he's seen it. So for that thing to do something that he hasn't seen, I don't know if it's impressive or bad. But even we were both in agreement that it has to be something in the gerotor pump for the hydraulic oil cooler. So I ordered seals, O-rings, bearings to go through and rebuild that. And then you got to set the preload on the bearings in inch-pounds, so I ordered an inch-pound torque wrench, so that'll be here. I already got oil for it, so that'll be here. So might just pick it once everything shows up. I might just pick it afternoon after work and just do it and get it out of the way, because it really shouldn't be that big of a job in theory. So we'll see, because I want to get the 3 fields planted that I got fit. I got one more small field going to this hybrid that I want to get planted this week, and then I kind of want to make a switch and get some more beans in the ground, is what I'd like to do. Because after last year, my later planted beans, and by later planted, it was only like a week and a half difference between the beans I got in early and the beans I got in late. That made a huge difference in yield, so I'd like to get them in the ground sooner rather than later. So like I say, I want to get the rest of this hybrid hammered in and then switch and get at least a couple more fields of beans planted. So, but anyhow, Teeter, come on. Teeter, come, let's go for a ride. Teeter, I know you're on the other side of the tractor. Come on, let's go for a ride. She needs a theme song. Come on, let's go for a ride. So let's go get this thing dropped off at the field so that I don't have to wait for it. Okay. where I think I can park it right here and it'll be out of the way. That should be good. And there should be plenty of seed in the planter to get done what has to get done here, so shouldn't have to worry about that. Okay, now we can go back and get the tractor. Alright. I did change the sensor on row number 2, so yeah. Okay, should be good to go. Look at that, even got the right marker arm going. Okay, I'm just about done. I got some point rows here on the last pass and long rows, and I got to work these short rows off, so I probably got like an acre left. And I think I stopped and looked at my fertilizer about 4 rounds ago. Come on. Yeah, we're about out. So, actually I say we're about out. I'm also sitting on a hill, so a bunch probably ran down to this tank. So we got to put some more in, obviously. This field, the drill always got about between 9, I think like 9.2 to 9.5. 9.9. So, half acre off. I guess I could see it maybe. What I want to do, I'm not too concerned about it right now, because I just want to get stuff planted. But when I get the muck is obviously going to be the last field I'm going to plant, so when I'm down there I'm probably not going to be in too much of a big hurry to get it done, because that'll be the last corn in the ground. So when I'm down there, take the measuring wheel with me, and since those are nice long straight runs, make one pass across the field and then wheel it off, and you take your distance times the width of your planter, and that tells you how many acres you just planted, and then see if that one pass reads the same on the monitor as what the math says it is, and then we'll know for sure. But like I say, that can wait until we're about done with corn, and then if we figure out how far it's off, we should be able to go back and adjust the numbers accordingly, in theory. So, but I gotta set it down real quick so I can check how much fertilizer I got, because I was filling on a hill, so I don't know if it pushed it uphill enough into this tank. But see how much fertilizer I got, put more in it if need be. I think I should have enough seed, and we'll go plant that small 4-acre field that I worked. And then we'll end up parking the tractor and planter at the big field, and that'll be the last one we'll finish up tomorrow. So we'll catch you guys here in a little bit. Okay, this ain't gonna take very long. By the time you get all the end rows on this field, there ain't nothing left to plant, so should be pretty quick. halfway done, but I want to get off and check my seed. I evened out the boxes the best I could before I left the other fields, so make sure they're all using even and we don't got one or two that are gonna conk out on the first. So far they're looking good. Oh yeah. Apparently that purple seed, or that, not purple, what was it, 2195? Whatever that first hybrid I planted that had the red treatment on it, apparently that was a lighter seed. I don't know, I guess it'd be a heavier seed. And it was wiggling its way to the top like on a gravity table, apparently. So we should be, it's gonna be close, but we should be good, so we'll see how it plays out. There's basically 14 acres knocked out. The monitor said this is exactly 4 acres, which is what I always figured it at. That was what the drill always said it was. That's what any satellite maps I ever drew, that's what it said it was. So I'm thinking that monitor's accurate. I'm thinking it's the drill that's off a little bit, which, if anything, I would think the drill would become less accurate the more acres you, like, on a bigger field, like say you're running it over 40 acres instead of 4, it would seem like it would lose a little bit more over. So I'm wondering, I'm thinking this monitor is accurate. We have to wheel it off so that we know for sure, but I think it's right. But anyhow, I basically started, I figure probably about 4:30 when I hit the road for that first field, and it's 7:30 now. So I got 14 acres, 2 fields planted with a 35-40 minute drive between the two, because I had to stop at mom and dad's and grab a sweatshirt out of my truck. Two fields at 14 acres with a drive between them in basically 3 hours. Like, I know I've said this in the last 2 videos of planting already, but man, I love that planter. I didn't figure I was going to get this much done today. I mean, I'm used to planting with 4 rows, and that first 9 acres would have been a full night with that 4 row. And I wasn't even pushing it because these two fields have got rocks in them, so I was only running about 5 miles an hour instead of 6. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could probably start planting on that other field, but I want to get this over there, get back to my truck, and get the nurse tank pulled over so that it's sitting there. And I don't want to pull that nurse tank in the dark, so, because it doesn't have any lights on it. And I just don't want to pull it in the dark to begin with, because even if it had lights on it, it doesn't mean nothing. So, but I'm going to get this folded up, get it over to the other field, get it parked, have Dad come get me, and get the nurse tank moved, and we will pick this up tomorrow. So, farming is a lot more fun when you don't have to, like, push hard. Like before, with the 4.0, to get done what I needed to get done, you were pulling a lot of late, especially working a day job. You were pulling a lot of late nights, and you know, this just makes it a lot more enjoyable. You see these guys bragging about how they, you know, they've been planting for 24 hours straight, 30 hours straight. I mean, they just run around the clock. It's like, to what end? Like, you don't get to enjoy yourself. If you gotta work that hard at farming, I mean, farming's already enough work. You don't need to make it any more work for yourself than it needs to be. Just, if that's the way you gotta work to farm and to make it, and to, you know, cover the ground that you need to cover, it's probably a pretty good sign that you could probably shed a few acres, let somebody else take them that wants them, and, you know, you could probably farm a little less and, you know, not have to put in as many hours and enjoy life a lot more, and not take a toll on both your physical and mental health. But that's just my opinion of it. You ain't got to share the same opinion. So anyhow, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. And we're back. Spin this thing around and pull it up by the wagon so that we can fill it up with seed and fertilizer. That new voltage regulator works really good. The only thing you got to do is wrap the throttle real quick when you start it up to get it to charge. I'm guessing because the idle's set too low for it to excite the alternator without bumping the throttle. And I got to thinking about it after I put this on, that the one wire alternator on the 4150 does the same thing. When you start it up, it'll peg all the way over hard, and then about 5-10 seconds it'll work its way back and start regulating. And the thing the 4150 does that this doesn't, that 3208, when you first start it, there's an RPM surge real quick apparently while the governor kicks in and brings it back down to an idle. So that's probably why the alternator on that one self-excites, but I don't know. That's just an observation. Probably wrong, but it's just something I noticed between the two. Apparently all the fertilizer's sitting in one tank. That's one way you can tell if you've been working on a hillside with this thing. All the fertilizer will go to one side, and that side will pick up last. I've actually been planting corn all day. I was planting corn for my boss at work. Stayed over late to help him move stuff around so he could keep going. it's like, holy cow. Okay, let me get loaded up here and we'll have at it. I got 8 acres done so far, so I figured I'd stop for a refill so I didn't have to keep getting off and checking it. I remember the one video I made out here planting corn. I can't remember how many years ago it was. I think it was the first year I was running the 1800 on the corn planter, maybe. This had been a while ago. I started out here about, that'll have been about 4:30, so about the same time I started today. If I remember right, I rolled out of here about 11 o'clock at night by the time I got it done. I've probably only got about another 35-40 minutes now I have it done now. I know I've been talking about it a lot, but I don't think you guys understand just how gooped up I am about this planter. I know it's my second year running it, but this is like the first year, because last year we got through all the teething troubles, and about the time I finally got it working good, I was done planting corn. And this year she's a champ. So yeah, it just makes me happy. And there's another field done. I already took my truck and the nurse tank back home, and Dad just dropped me back off to get the tractor. Normally, I used to figure this one at 12.5 acres, if I remember right. It's 12 or 12.5. Came out to 13.3 on the monitor, and 13.3 acres, and figure 30,000 plants per acre, or seeds per acre, plants per acre. I should have used about just shy of 5 bags. It was like 4.9 something, and that's the last couple rounds I was getting off and hand moving seed between the boxes to get everything to work out right. So it was, and I dumped 5 bags in it when I started, and it was basically empty. So I think that monitor's right. And I think last night I was thinking about it while I was eating dinner. I think I know why there is a inconsistency between this and the drill. Acre counter on the drill is figuring on a 7-inch spacing. So 7 inches in between drill passes, and then, you know, 7 inches down the length of the drill, or width of the drill. Since I'm planting 14-inch beans, blocking off every other row and leaving 14 inches in between each pass, roughly, now all of a sudden you're adding 7 more inches every pass that the acre counter's not compensating for, because it's set up for 7-inch row spacing. So every time you make a pass, you add another 7 inches. So 7, 14, 21, 28, yada 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 on down the line. And that might not make a huge difference over 2, 3, 4 acres, which is why on the smaller fields the acre counter's been coming out pretty much what I've been normally figuring on. But you start getting 10, 15, 20 acres, all of a sudden that's a lot of roundy rounds, and that's a lot of 7 inches added up that the acre counter's not compensating for, and next thing you know, you've lost an acre even though you've planted it. So I think that's why there's an inconsistency between this acre counter and the one on the drill, and that's why I'm thinking this one's actually right. So like I say, we get down in the muck, and I'm not trying to get stuff done. Well, I mean, I'll be trying to get it done, but when I got that last little bit left to do, we'll take a measuring wheel down there with me and make a pass measured off, see if it's actually right. But I think it is. So, but anyhow, 13.5 acres basically in an hour and 40 minutes, and back with the old 4-row. When I was still shoveling fertilizer, you figured this was a solid 5.5, 6 hour job. Or when I built the fertilizer wagon, you can get it done in about 4.5. So I'll take this, but I gotta go get it home and pull it up in front of the shop, and we gotta do a little welding. I noticed yesterday this cylinder mount is cracked right there, but it hasn't gotten any worse, and by the rust I figured it had been cracked for a while, so I wasn't gonna bother trying to get the thing off and take it home and fix it last night. I figured it'd make it through another little bit, and I was right. It hasn't cracked any more than what I noticed yesterday, so it'd probably make it through the rest of the season. But now that I see it, we probably ought to get her fixed. So, and it looks like it's been covered in primer, so I wonder if it's been fixed once before. But anyway, I gotta get home and do that, and tomorrow we will get the 1955 out and go down to Indiana and fit my last little field of this hybrid, and then this hybrid will be done. So with that, I guess that's it for this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one.